Hold up. Park it. Kick back, spark it. Welcome to the spot where money talks honest. Yeah. This is Gosh Talk with Bill Haase. Real life money in your front seat. From the paycheck to the profit. Turn that I don't know to I got this. Gosh Talk with Bill Haase. Blueprint stacked on the workbench. From the hustle to the harvest. Learning what they never really taught us. So if you're tired of the fine print winning, slide a chair in, that's a new beginning. We keep it straight, keep it smart, keep it classy. You're tuned in now, Garage Talk with Bill Haase.
Welcome to Garage Talks with Bill Haase. This week, I got a little different thing going on here. I'm not bringing a guest on today. I want to bring up something that I think is very, very important to all of us, for us to know, and I don't think many people know about it. Earlier this month, I wrote a report, which I do once a month. You can see it on my website, moneymindsetmedia.com. You can also sign up to receive the report. It goes out once a month, and it has usually something to do with us economically, financially, whether it's global, national, or local information that affects our lives. I don't sell anything. It's a free report, and I promise I don't sell your email. I'm just looking to be informative. But and this month I wrote about a very special subject called surveillance pricing. Very interesting. Not new, a little bit different now, but it's been going on for a very, very long time. Pre-industrial revolution, surveillance pricing was looked at as kind of, you'd walk into a store and you would, depending upon how you were dressed or how you were, your position in society, might determine a store owner charging a higher price, or you're haggling over price. Industrial revolution came along and kind of evened out that pricing and brought along something called dynamic pricing. Now, dynamic pricing can be more based on demand, seasonality, remaining inventory, things of that nature. Think like hotel room or airlines. If there's only a couple seats left on the plane or a couple of rooms left because of demand, those prices might increase on you. But surveillance pricing is very different. Surveillance pricing is based on you and your information and how it's used. You put together a little AI along with all your personal information, algorithms and things of that nature. You sign up for things all the time to get discounts. Maybe you go to a store, a clothing store, and you get a 10 or 20% discount to sign up for their credit card that day. And then they start tracking what you're buying, how much you're spending, what you're willing to spend. And surveillance pricing then comes in and says, okay, what's your pain point? What's the highest price we think you're willing to pay based on your history? And this is really interesting because this is going on everywhere. Okay, and it's important to understand how they do it. Like you get on a computer and you go shopping, and it can watch your mouse move. How many times do you click on a certain product? Do you put it into your cart? Do you then buy it, or do you leave it in your cart and go away and you don't purchase it? They might even come back with a discount to try and get you to purchase that product, to come back in and get it, which isn't a bad thing. But surveillance pricing is primarily used to see how much they can charge for you. For instance, there was a incident in Target where someone was on their phone and they looked up a television, and that TV was $499.95. $499.95. The person then went to the store, and as they got in the parking lot, all right, their phone gave off the fact that they were close by, meaning they were most likely going to come into the store and purchase that TV. Now, when those folks got in there, that TV was now $599.95. Okay, the price went up because they knew you were coming in. They were pretty sure that you were doing so because you wanted this product. and you're going to be willing to pay more. That's why you're there. You're there to pick it up. You want it. You want it right now. You don't want to order it online and wait days for it to show up at your door. So are you willing to pay more for that? Well, there are folks that say, yes, you are. Absolutely willing to pay for it. And here's how we're going to make you do it. Look at Walmart. Walmart is going to be doing these electronic pricings on their shelves, right? You're going to see this more and more in different stores. You're probably already seeing it in stores. And what happens is there's things like facial recognition when you walk in the store. Automatically, you walk down an aisle, prices increase. I know it's wild, but the question is this fair? I mean, should someone who can afford to pay more, and those who can't pay less? Look, when you shop online, certain things come into play as well. Are you shopping online for the North Shore of Chicago, where it's a wealthy area, or are you in some small town in the middle of Iowa? Yeah, there's a difference in pricing based just on that, on your zip code. Is one of the ways in which they do this pricing. So again, the question is this fair or not fair? I'd love to hear from you. Tell me what you think. You can reach me at bill@billhaase.com. That's Bill, B-I-L-L, at BILLHAASE.com. Let me know what your thoughts are, because this is an important subject matter, and it's affecting all of us. It's going to affect us more and more and more. Now, I know Europe is trying to prevent this and front run with legislation, whereas in the U.S., we have a tendency to do it after the fact. So there are some things coming out. There's the Fair Price Act that came as a bill in 2025. Hasn't been voted upon yet, but places like New York, New Jersey, Maryland, trying to implement surveillance pricing not being allowed in certain stores, much like grocery stores especially. But the problem with that is the burden of proof, right? And how do you know if it's happening? And then how do you stop it? How do you catch it? Target got in trouble for this TV deal where they jacked it up $100, and they paid a $5 million fine. Now, I know Walmart has stated that they're going to do this on about 120,000 products. Imagine that. So, be careful. Some of the things you can do to avoid this is you can, when you go online, go incognito. You can do that on your phone. You can do it on your computers, which is another way they track you, by the way. The type of phone that you use, let's say you're using a brand new iPhone, all right, well, it's suggested that people who have those phones are willing to pay more, or maybe it's an iMac computer. It suggests that people are willing to pay more. For some reason, that's the belief. So they will charge a higher price as opposed to maybe using a Windows OS system or an old phone. And the prices can vary, and it's scary because these things happen instantly. Using AI and algorithms, they can instantly change prices right there. Another way to get around it maybe is when you're in a store, turn off your Wi-Fi on your phone because they won't pick up the signal then. However, like I said, there's facial recognition that's going to be going on as well. The reason why I want to bring this up is because I don't think it's fair, personally. I guess you could look at it and say, if I'm able to and willing to pay more, then I subsidize somebody who can't pay more, whereas I'm willing to pay more. Is that fair in society? So what's fair in this one? Life is not fair. We are competitive people. We are taught from a very, very early age about competition. Whether you play sports, I was part of the American Youth Soccer Organization. Back in the day when we used to keep score, and the winners get the trophy, and the losers don't. Okay, they don't get a participation ribbon or anything like that. because it teaches you to up your game, right? There's competition. You've got to do more. You've got to work harder to be better. All right. Everybody would love to be a pro athlete, right? But we just aren't all designed that way. So I don't think this is much like surveillance pricing. It's trying to level the playing field, but it's not really what it's about. It's more about profits. Okay, I can talk about uh, how I think there is some price gouging going on out here. How can Fortune 500 companies uh, be facing higher prices for raw materials to build their products and get them to market? All the costs are higher, and yet they're making record profits. How can your costs of your goods be higher to get to market? You're absorbing some of those costs, or maybe you're passing them all along. But even if you're passing 100% of the prices along, that still doesn't put you into a position where you're making record profits. So, and surveillance pricing is part of that. You really, really want to look into this. There's so much information. Just Google surveillance pricing, and it's everywhere. They track our behaviors. They track our emotions. Even they can try. Your mouse cursor uh, can give away what your emotion is at this point in time. If you're bouncing all around, or you're just located on one product or looking at one type of product over and over again. There's algorithmic extractions that are being used. Again, you're signing up for, maybe it's a fast food store. You're signing up so you can get free sandwiches or burgers or something like that, or like I said, a clothing store, gas stations, credit cards, things like that. MasterCard is one of the entities that records all this information. So one of the things a lot of the stores are doing is they aren't doing this themselves. They're going to third-party entities to get this information. Now, what does that do? Well, that they can say, well, we don't do this. We don't do the surveillance pricing ourselves. So they can absolve themselves of any involvement where it might be considered illegal, or find themselves in a position like Target and paying large fines. So they go to third-party places. Um, you know, rideshares, they do the same thing. There's a story of a husband and wife who did a little test. They stood on the same corner. They both ordered an Uber to go to from the same place to the same place, and one price was higher than the other, and they're standing right next to each other. You go online and you go online to Walmart and go to your account and go to buy a tube of toothpaste. Okay, Colgate toothpaste. I just read a story where the price was $3.74. Then a person went online blinded, right? Not in their own personal account. They just went online and looked at it, and it was $3.54. So it was 20 cents cheaper when they didn't know who you were, and they couldn't use those algorithms. Now, Walmart deny that they do this surveillance pricing thing, but there are times where it's pretty darn obvious. This can get expensive. This costs you money over a period of a year. It can cost, they say on average, somewhere around $1,200 a person. I'm sure it's more for some people and less for others, but on average, and that's really, you got to account for that. I talk about financial literacy. How can you account for your money and take control back? But the only way you can is to learn the ways in which people are trying to get the money out of you. So pay attention, see what's going on. Shopping a little bit, shop incognito on the websites when you get on the internet. If you can do that, turn your Wi-Fi off on your phone. I won't say wear a mask so they can't do facial recognition, but still, there's different ways to handle this. Of course, they're going to find ways to get around that. Eventually, they will. But again, do you feel that this is legal? It's questionable. I mean, enough so that states and the feds are trying to come up with different ways to curtail it and control it. But it's going to be very, very difficult. I don't see how you can even take the Fair Act and stop surveillance pricing from happening. They're going to do it one way, shape, or form or another. And again, the burden of proof, and how do you manage that? So, give you a little more ideas. Things like loyalty. If you're loyal to a certain product, like you love Tommy Bahamas and stuff, and they know that, they know you're coming to buy their stuff, they're going to charge you a higher price because they know you're going to pay it because that's what you like, that's what you want. Okay, and I'm not saying Tommy Bahamas does that. I'm just saying, as an example, it could be your favorite perfume, or men's cologne, your favorite types of shoes. It could be in any aspect of a product and purchasing decisions. So, it's you got to understand how this all goes and flows in order to understand, where your money's going. Because if you don't understand where your money's going, you're not controlling. If you don't see it, if you don't know, if you don't pay attention, I always say start with the budget, not because you need to know the budget and fit everything in there. A budget also tells you it's fixed costs, right? Variable costs, and then there's the incidentals. That's the money that's left over that you have to spend on anything you want. Okay, and that's what you really need to learn about, because that's your spending habits. And if you learn what you're spending your money on, you're going to start questioning why you do it. Why do I go to Starbucks every day and spend $6, $7, $8? Right? That's a lot of money. It adds up. When I speak to kids at colleges, one of the first things I ask is how often do you go get fast food? And everybody raises their hand. Oh, we do it every day. I said, okay, how much you spend? $10, $12. Okay, $10, $12 every day, $70, $70, to $78 a week. Okay, that's a lot of money. Let's say it's $75 a week. That's $300 a month. $300 a month. That's a car payment. A used car payment. A small loan car payment. But it adds up, and you could use that for other things. Also, you lose the cost of opportunity. That's not money you have should an opportunistic situation arise. You don't have the money for it because you spent it all on fast food. So again, let's get back to the surveillance pricing. It's affecting all of our lives. It's coming in more and more to every store you can imagine. There are many companies that are involved in gathering all this information, and by the way, you give it up. You're the one who signed up for everything, and now they have all your information. They know everywhere you sign up, they track your spending habit. Okay, and again, loyalty again. If you like to go to McDonald's all the time, you sign up on their app and you order on their app. They're going to know what you're doing, and they may change the pricing on you. Airlines do this, hotels do this, grocery stores do this, Uber and Lyft do it. It's a different form. Uber and Lyft might have a price increase for certain times a day. Okay, that's just a different form of rising the costs and generating more profits. But surveillance pricing is much along those same lines is what it does, and they'll use that as well. So I just want to get you knowledge and information about all this new things going on. It's very different from pre-industrial revolution, because pre-industrial was just personal. It was just you coming in the store and being able to negotiate haggle prices. Nowadays, it doesn't include you. It includes all your information, but it doesn't really It's not you walking in the store and haggling over the prices. Prices are already going to be affected just by you stepping in or even coming into the parking lot of the store. That's what happened at Target. So keep your eyes open for seeing these kinds of things. Pay attention. Cheapest thing to pay, right? Pay attention, and use your money wisely. You know, needs are important. Wants are not as important. You grew up your whole life, first, let's say 21 or 22 years of your life, if you went on to college, where all your needs were met and all you had were wants. Then you get out into the real world, right? And it's like, uh-oh, what are all these needs? I got to pay rent. I got to pay insurance. Who's this FICO guy taking out of my paycheck? It's and everybody out there is trying to take your money. Okay, that's what this world is all about. We judge most things based on finance, on money, and that's why we spend it. We spend money to buy the clothes to make us look better, the bling, the car, the house, the neighborhood, where our kids go to school. We spend money to make us look wealthier and smarter than we might actually be. I've known people that spend so much money they go broke trying to look rich. And it doesn't matter how much you make. We all fall into the trap. There's 80% of us live, roughly 80% of us live paycheck to paycheck. You don't have to do that. So you can get my book over here, Our Mindset on Money, and learn how to take that control back, because what you are not aware of controls you. What you are aware of, you control. That's the point of this Garage Talks with Bill Haase. It started here in my garage. The picture on the front end of the show and the back end of the show is actually my garage, where I have friends over and we have conversations about things. Sometimes it's about economics and finance, whether it's global, national, local. We discuss different aspects and different effects in our lives of money. So this is where this show derived from, and I hope that you continue to follow the show. We'll be bringing on more guests. Last week you saw my guest was all about silver and gold and investing in that. I'm a huge proponent of that. And we'll have more guests coming on in the future. And again, there's my monthly report you can find on the website, moneymindsetmedia.com. That's moneymindsetmedia.com. You can sign up for the report. You can see old reports there. You can see some of the old shows there. And the podcast will be on your favorite podcast channel every Thursday. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Again, Bill Haase with Garage Talks. Thank you.